across your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. It is Wednesday, the 27th of August, with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright. How you doing, Mr. Wright? Has the week been treating you well so far?
Absolutely superb, mate. Thank you very much. Yes, I hope you're well too. That was a bit bluesy, that intro. Is it because you got the cup blues, maybe? I don't know. Yeah?
You know what? I just went with a theme tune we've not had for a while. But there have been, I mean, you talk about cups there. There were a few shocks in the EFL Cup yesterday. There was a big shock in the German Cup as well. One of the biggest bets on the sportsbook yesterday was the loser. VfB Stuttgart knocked out against Eintracht Braunschweig. Nearly $6,000 play, minus 264 was a loser, Jack. So the defending champions are out of the DFB Pokal.
It can happen for anyone.
And big shocks yesterday, of course, in the EFL Cup. Leeds, Sunderland knocked out. West Ham are out, aren't they? Sacked Melier goalkeeping coach. Welcome in. Darlow own goal yesterday. You might be back in business soon. Reece Conroy wishes he could unwatch the Kairat Celtic game. No quality at all. Ming Chung was shocked at Celtic. And well done yesterday. Yeah, huge shout out to Will White. 5-0 on the show yesterday. Also on the tennis, Nigel Seeley with a clean sweep. And the Fast Break show continues to have winner after winner all the time at the minute, Jack. Sarah, 6-0 for August. So there's winners everywhere on the line.
I wasn't due to be on today, Steve, but I've called me in just so we can dampen the expectation down a little bit. Go on there, Jack. Go on there. Go and let's get it a little bit chilled out. Let's get too much excitement early in the season.
Duncan Evans, welcome in. Unders in Celtic. Holo Iahe, good to see you. Villa fan as well. Seeley with that clean sweep. That was a really good one. I got mixed up with Reese. Is right. They didn't Stuttgart not knocked out. They just didn't win on the money line. The point being that it was obviously a big shock in terms of the odds. Nearly $6,000 play on the money line. Did lose the penalties. Saved the day there.
I do not think that Betor was that worried about the penalties after that bet failed.
Overall, he
in regular time.
He would have wanted them knocked out after that.
It's the worst possible result.
Biggest bet on the soccer yesterday was in the women's game. Actually, Pachuca against Atlas down in Mexico. There over 1.5 first half goals at minus 150. That was a winner. And some big bets here. Yannick Sinner, $50,000 on him. To beat Kopriva. That was, of course, a winner. Congratulations to the teams that qualified yesterday. Bodo Glimt, Paphos are in the Champions League. Kairat against Celtic. They were given a 92% chance to go through, Celtic were, when the draw was made, Jack. That's such a big shock, isn't it? And a big sort of letdown for Celtic in general.
Oh, it's a huge blow. And it's horrible to keep bringing it back to it. That tends to be what soccer's about at the moment, isn't it? At this stage, we'll bring it back to the amount of money they're now going to lose for the fact they're not going to be in that competition. And then that has a knock-on effect with ongoing transfer business, etc., etc. It's not such a worry for them in their league, but obviously this is massive for them here. So but great to see those kind of results can still happen. Fair play, and unless you're a Celtic fan.
There is a house special today. I'm going to mention it now because we're not going to talk about this game, I don't think. But it's in the DFB Pokal, and this is Wien Wiesbaden against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are minus 10,000 to win on the money line, by the way. Over 4.5 goals is at minus 120. But the house special is Harry Kane to score at least 2 goals. And Bayern Munich and the match to finish with over 5 goals. That is plus 210. I don't know if he's going to start this cup match or not, but if he does, that could be a very, very generous house special.
He started the season quite sluggish, hasn't he, to be fair? So,
he's been great form there on Friday. evening. Tristan Wiggle, what is happening to Scottish football? Maybe that's the question we can answer when we talk about the Rangers match today. Maserati Fox, we're going to talk about AEK Brann as well. Hughesy, yeah. I'm not surprised, though, with Calvert-Lewin. I said it on X a few times. I think it's a really poor transfer. Kita now took a flyer on Sheffield Wednesday in 90 minutes at 16-1. That's a bit unlucky, actually, in the end. They were 1-0 up for quite a long time. A shame he didn't go on the draw double chance to Kita now, because Leeds were like 1-10 to win. 1-10.
Yeah. Well, Wednesday put their kids out, and it was a relatively strong lead side, wasn't it? So
yeah. Wednesday have actually, to be fair, Wednesday their results have been a lot better this season than I thought they would be across the
board. Hugely.
Not quite sure how they managed it really. The fans aren't even. Well, the fans are kind of behind them, but they're not at the stadium that much. So it's weird.
Well, they want the players to do well, don't they? Obviously want their team to do well to a certain extent, but obviously they need to get the owners out, and it's a weird situation. And so I think everyone generally expected them to be relegated by Christmas and getting thumped 4 or 5-0 every single week. But they rolled the sleeves up, and a few of the lads in there have obviously said, "Well, look, we this is our chance to kind of shine a little bit. We probably wouldn't have had an opportunity, most of them." And other lads that have come in that were looking for clubs. There's a talk of a couple of Norwich players who are out of favour at the moment going there. So, just as they thought it couldn't get any worse.
Put your best bets in chat for today. Before we start talking about the games, a reminder of the newsletter, which comes out twice a week, including the Betting Weekly Insider on Friday. We've been allocated our games today, Jack, for the weekend. Pleased to say I hit 2 out of 2 winners on the Insider last week. You're right up there on the Insider table. Are you top of the Insider handicap table right now?
Oh, I don't like to talk about it, really, to be fair. But yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. So, yeah, absolutely well worth signing up for. Some very interesting takes across the board. Matches in Europe as well. Rory Barlow's got a couple of plays in LaLiga. So do sign up for free if you're not already. I'm sure most of you watching already are signed up to it. But if you're not,
currently searching my minus 1,000 odds picks for this weekend just to consolidate my place at the top of the table.
Ian Messina says unders in the FC Copenhagen match. And you know what? I think we're going to start in the Danish capital. FC Copenhagen against Basel. Minus 180 for FC Copenhagen. Basel plus 420. The tie is at plus 320. Kairat qualified for the group stage right from the first round. One of the few teams to do that in recent years. FC Copenhagen, this is the third tie they've been involved in the Champions League, so it would be a fair achievement for them to qualify. But the minus 180 on the money line to win, which means to actually qualify minus 286. 1-1 after the first leg. And for me, I think FC Copenhagen will get the job done here. I consider them to be a better outfit than Basel. I underestimated Copenhagen at the start of this qualifying campaign, but they've got better as it's gone on. The squad is probably better than I gave it credit for, and I would expect them to get the job done here. It might be by only 1 goal, but I think they can probably rack up quite a comfortable win. They were so impressive last time here against Malmo. Basel are better than Malmo, but I think here on the minus 1 Asian handicap for Copenhagen, minus 106 is a bit of a free run for your money. As long as they win the game, you won't lose anything. In terms of actual goal scorers, if they start him, he's been in and out of the team recently, but if Cornelius does start, he would be a player I'll be looking at. I think it's plus 195 to score. I know we've said before, if you can get Cornelius to score or assist, it's a better bet. Bet Rivers, they're not offering that market for this game. But he is a man-mountain, physical striker target man who comes alive in the big games. And I think he'll be a real handful for Basel here. Basel have missed a boat by not winning the first leg for me, Jack. So FC Copenhagen are going to punish them.
Yeah, Basel aren't so strong away from home, are they? They've lost both their Super League games so far this season as well, 2-1 and 3-1. So I know you'd said to me this morning about the fact that you fancied that was kind of your strongest bet of the day. Maybe you might have found something else, but stay tuned to find out. And I was like, oh yeah, they were short price, but as you say, I sometimes like those where you can then have a bit of a free swing at the minus 1 Asian handicap, and that's the case on this occasion. So I think that simple as looks a solid play.
76% of the money is on FC Copenhagen, 89% of the tickets. Over-under money's much more split, 54% on the over. That suggests that perhaps the bettors are more interested in the under here. Ian Messina says unders there. Don't know if you've got any thoughts on the over-under market for this one, Jack, or not. Basel have been involved in a lot of high-scoring games this season, though, so it could be quite dangerous in the second leg if you are going unders. But I do think that 2-0 score, the 2-0 score is ringing in my head here.
Yeah, I did have a little look around the goals in it, and I've kind of gone down the route here of over 1.5 second half goals because of the nature of the tie. Obviously, being a tie in the first leg does just mean that there's going to be some jeopardy in the second leg and second half of this game. So over 1.5 second half goals is minus 110, and I kind of preferred that to the fact that of going over 2.5 or looking at over the course of the full 90. Sometimes these can be a little bit cagey to start with, whilst no one wants to kind of lose it early on, and then it can go into life. And if there is a goal in the first half, obviously it just means the tie is completely blown open. Then, given the nature of it, so there's been 2 or more goals in 10 of Basel's last 11 road trips across all competitions, and there's been 12 goals in Copenhagen's last 5 games across all venues and competitions. So in the second half, so that was a way in on a game that I didn't have a massive strong opinion, but I thought those stats were quite strong to play at a decent price. I say, especially with the tie as it's balanced at the moment.
Ian Messina says half-time draw ? I wouldn't rule it out, Ian. One thing I've got to mention about this game before we move on, I think FC Copenhagen's experience in Europe could count for quite a bit here. In the last sort of 5 years, there was even a season where they qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League. Got done up well by Man City, but they got put through a group which included Man United and I think it was Galatasaray. This is a team that's used to being in Europe quite a lot. Basel, for the likes of me and you growing up, Basel were always in the Champions League, weren't they? But
yeah, you're right.
They kind of fell on lean times before last season's title win. They had a really rough run. They weren't far off the relegation one season, and the Swiss league seems to. It's quite an open league, really. Young boys had a good run in it, but it's not like a clear dominant team in Switzerland at the moment. So I just think that is a big thing on the European stage. The experience of it can really help teams.
Yeah. This game obviously could go to penalties, couldn't it? I did see a stat today saying that I can't remember which way around it is now, but there's one of the sides has won all 4 of their penalty shootouts in Champions League, and the others won 4 and lost 1. So they're obviously quite strong historically over those. I don't know how long that goes back, but it could be interesting if it gets to that far down the line. But I hope obviously for your sake that we get a winner in 90 and it's on the right side. We'd said that weirdly enough, haven't we, at the start of the kind of competition, we talked about Danish soccer being a little bit weak and they were sides to fade, but Copenhagen have kind of got to that point where they've kind of got through that, haven't they? And as you say, put in a couple of decent results and decent performances since we had that conversation. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully they get through.
Well, I think what's happened with the Danish teams is they started off really slow because their season hadn't started then, and they were facing teams, a lot of the teams that already were in the middle of their league phase. Now the Danish league's 4 or 5 games in, so they're up to scratch. They've had European matches. Midtjylland have improved as well, and to be fair, even Brøndby have. So they might have actually hit the sweet spot here, these Danish teams at this stage.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point.
They go from being faded to being backed. Ginepi, I mean, that's quite, to be fair, Shakira there at plus 450. That is quite a big price to score any time. He's the main man for them, and. Yeah, plus 450. He'll be on penalties, he'll be on free kicks. He's a live wire in that first leg. Shaqiri, not Shakira.
Yeah, Ginepi's tips don't lie.
Yeah. Chris Graham. Interesting. Braintree 5-0. Did that? Yep. I didn't even know that result, to be honest, Jack. But obviously,
but Bank Holiday Monday, very good result there for Chris's.
What were the odds there?
They were strong favourites. Yeah, Braintree's kind of more local to me, to be honest with you. But
it's not like I should smoke that league.
Yeah, you'd be disappointed if they're not up there challenging. So Mark Hughes still there in charge, isn't he? And they've started okay, but a few goals.
Let's move to Benfica Fenerbahce. I've not got a bet in this one. at all. I can't. I find it hard to find a bet in this game. Benfica minus 175 money line. Fenerbahce plus 400. Benfica minus 335 to go through. Fenerbahce plus 220. I mean, this time last year, of course, Fenerbahce were second best against Lille overall. Jose Mourinho was disappointed with that. The first leg, they're still in the tie. It's a draw. I'm a bit reluctant to go against. I'm a bit of an old schooler here. I'm a bit reluctant to go against Jose Mourinho because I have seen him kind of achieve things that you don't expect when they're an underdog. And, they're really good with the dark arts, Jose Mourinho teams. I like Benfica. I rate them. I think they're the best team in Portugal right now. But am I going to be rushing to get involved at minus 175? No, I'm not. So this is one sit and watch for me, Jack. Have you got any thoughts on the game?
I'm with you really on this one. This is a tough one to try and find an angle in. I've obviously tried just to throw out a couple but these are certainly weak leans, if you want to call them that, to be fair. Obviously, Jose Mourinho against his Portuguese. He's Portuguese, isn't he? And he's against a Portuguese club, so an extra incentive probably for him to pull something out the bag. Wouldn't surprise you. I was probably looking at the fact that you can get under 2.75 goals in this one at minus 118. I was so scratching around that I was looking to get Otamendi on side for there's no shots on target, but he's the type of player that comes up in these kind of games and gets the goal that can be crucial. It just seems that he's plus 750 to score. So again, he's another outsider that I kind of fancied. But if you do like Benfica, there was only 0.72 combined expected goals in the first leg, which summed it up really. Although Benfica were down to 10 men for the final 20 minutes, weren't they? If you want to get Benfica on side, possibly have a look at the win to nil. That takes that price to plus 170.
I think this could be a bit of a feisty game. I think it'll be stop-start, probably a lot of fouls, probably quite a few cards as well. Game rhythm and flow won't be there. And
card line set at 6.5, I think, isn't it? Which will sum it up, and you'll be shocked if there's less than 5, 6, 7 cards in it. Someone's pointed out there was 10 in the first.
Yeah, when that happens, goals are often at a minimum as well, aren't they? That it kind of goes hand in hand because you can't get anything rhythm going in the game. So he's put in here. Someone's put a draw. Kita now.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise
this
me.
game.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me either. To be honest, he also likes drawing into Miami Orlando League's Cup. Ray Burke, good to see you. 10 cards in that first leg. Duncan Evans says he thinks Mourinho's a busted flush these days. There are some with that opinion. Maybe you're right, Duncan. Maybe I give him too much respect. But I think for the likes of me and you growing up seeing Mourinho doing what he did, I always find that so hard to get out of my mind.
All right, Steve, growing up with Mourinho, jeez.
I forget you actually. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, Mourinho is my kind of guy, especially back in the day. He came in, he had that swagger, the special one vibe that he brought to the table. I liked how he went about it. I liked his management style then. I was actually fortunate enough to go and take in quite a few Chelsea games at Stamford Bridge at that point of time in my life, and was there when they won the title against Man United at Stamford Bridge that season when he threw his medal into the crowd. But so he does hold a special place in my heart. And I say, unfortunately, I think probably Duncan's right at this stage, but I won't. I can't bring myself to truly 100% believe that.
72% of the tickets from Fenerbahce, so the bettors are with Mourinho here, and we've got 80% of the money on the over for the game, which surprises me a little bit. I think it's one to watch. I'm not going to get heavily involved in here. Good luck if you are betting on this particular fixture. We'll come to the Rangers game soon. We've got some comments about it. But before then, really big game out in Azerbaijan. This is Qarabag against Ferencvaros. It looks like Qarabag are in a great position to qualify. 3-1 up. Yep. Minus 2,500 on the money line to go through now. And plus 114 to win the match in 90 minutes today. Ferencvaros plus 225. Do you know what? I've got quite a strong lean on this game, and it is the goals, Jack. Half goals, just simply because Ferencvaros have got to come here and have a go. They've got to be open. Yep. They've got to score at least 2 goals themselves. And whilst the 0-2 scoreline could happen, I just feel like it's more likely to go both teams score. I would say Ferencvaros are going to take it to extra time. It'd be 3-1 away win, probably, rather than 2-0.
Yeah.
So I've got a strong lean on the -129 over 2.5 goals, but Qarabag, they can control things here. This is actually the early kickoff, by the way. This kicks off in an hour and about an hour and a half. Yeah, because the time difference over there is, well, it would be the middle of the night, wouldn't it, if it kicked off the rest of the time? So, that's the way I'm seeing it here. They're really impressed with Qarabag in this qualifying run. I think they're a team well worth watching. And they will give a good account of themselves in the group stage, considering their location as well. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I think there's a little bit of value in them to win this, really, at +123. So that everyone says a 2-goal scoreline in a normal match is that tricky scoreline. You want that third goal or that to get 3 goals ahead to sort of make you feel a lot safer. And I think this is the same vibe in a second leg, especially when you're at home. You want to go, right, let's go and get a goal, 2 goals, and we really do put this tie to bed. So I still think there's a bit of value in that. I don't think they're the sort of side that are going to sit here and go, well, we could lose this 1-0 or we'll get a tie and we'll sneak through. I think they want to go for it with a win. So at +123. And also, as you've already alluded to, Ferencvaros is going to come here and obviously attack, which will leave them exposed at times for goals. But I do like, the over goals in it as well at -129. Robbie Keane's obviously in charge of Ferencvaros. And as someone's already pointed out, Varga is their striker here, 5 goals in the competition to date. So when they've got a striker, when they've got a goal scorer, any side has got a goal scorer, it does give them a puncher's chance. A couple of stats that will contradict that, really. Qarabag conceded 2 or more goals, which obviously Ferencvaros need this as a minimum. They need to score 2 goals to have a chance of qualifying. In only 6, they have 32 Champions League home games to date. So it's a rarity that they are conceding that many. They also played at the weekend, but rotated the full 11, so there won't be any tired legs coming into this one. They did lose that game 1-0, but I say it was a completely different side to the one that'll be out tonight, and certainly was the one that was out in the first leg. So no real dramas there. I just feel that what you've now said at the start of that is pretty much how it's going to go. Ferencvaros is going to come to attack. Qarabag got the quality and the skills to actually go and counteract that, and so I think probably win it. But the over goals looks to be the side of the coin to be on for me.
Yeah, over 2.5 goals now is -137. It's just been backed as we're live on air. Qarabag into +110 as well. It's close with the money line here. 58% of the money is on Qarabag for the game. 80% of the over-under money is on the over. And
you said Qarabag are +110 now?
Yeah, +110. They've been backed in live on air as we've been. To be fair, I can see where you're coming from there, because it's the sort of game. Robbie Keane, we know what he was like as a player. As a manager, I'm actually less sure. I've not seen enough of them overall, but he won't just go down with a whimper, will he? He will. He'd rather lose 3-1 than 0-0 sort of thing. So I think it could be one of those where Qarabag do maybe take advantage of some open holes and space. You know what? This Champions League, if Qarabag go through, there's some really sort of long, tough locations for these teams.
Far flung.
Kairat, Bodo Glimt, Qarabag, Paphos, although you wouldn't mind going there, to be fair, would you, in the dead of winter? But it's still a fair trek for some teams. So
absolutely right.
Yeah,
be interesting.
More like sort of Europa League, what it normally is, in the extremities. Champions League
you're right.
Comes to that. One more Champions League game to discuss, and it's a big one. Club Brugge against Rangers. Club Brugge 3-1. Club Brugge, of course, after that first leg, are in real control of the time. That's why they're -5,000 to go through. I mean, they were the actual favourite to win at Ibrox, Jack, which kind of shows everything. They're -190 to win the second leg. They're not. They don't need to win the game because they've got such a strong advantage of 3-1. I'm going to give some thoughts about the game after I give you the floor here, because there's been a lot of comments about Scottish football in general. Rangers, Celtic obviously getting knocked out last night. Russell Martin as well hasn't even won a league game yet, has he? At Rangers.
No, 3 draws.
Some of their best performances have been in the Champions League. Not so last week, though. What is your analysis of this particular fixture? Can we make some money out of it? How do you think?
Yeah, well, this is another 3-1, isn't it? Obviously from the first leg, as we said. So given Rangers' start to the season, I think Brugge will look to get the job finished off here. I think they'll go for it. and put more pressure on Russell Martin, who's only got the small matter of the Old Firm derby coming up at the weekend. So, it's a squeaky bum time for him already, to be perfectly honest. But Brugge had the weekend off as well, didn't they? Another side that they've been given the weekend off to fully prepare for this one. Rangers were against St Mirren. They were pretty poor. I watched a chunk of that game, as much as I could stomach, to be honest with you. Third straight league draw for them. And that's their worst start in the Scottish top flight in 36 years. So not great at all. And there's a bit of discontent around the club as well. So I certainly wouldn't be looking at a pro Rangers angle on this one. I like Brugge with the odds as they are. I know someone's put in a comment in here that they don't even fancy Rangers to win a corner. My actual angle in is over 9.5 corners in the match. That's minus 136. I think because Rangers are going to have to pretty much chase this from the first whistle, and Brugge can play on a counter-attack. We saw Brugge against Atalanta, I think it was last season, wasn't it, where they were lethal when they Atlanta came onto them because they had to, because of the first leg scoreline, and their counter-attack was absolutely lethal. So we could well see a similar situation here. Just to run through a few stats for it, the corner count ended 9-9 in the first leg. Brugge saw 12 and 11 in their game with Salzburg in their last qualifying round. 14 in both league games so far this season. Rangers league games have seen 13, 11 and 12. So both sides seemingly set up, and they're not all one-way traffic either. A few of those are fairly evenly split. So I think with the fact that they're conceding and getting them themselves would suggest that, for me, when it's a bit of a tough, either the odds are right and I can't find the value in playing those, I will go drop down into those kind of prop angles just to try and get something on board there. So yeah, minus 136 over 9.5 corners is what I landed on in the end. Zolis is probably the player to look out for, a Norwich player that pains me every time he's featured and having good games in the Champions League, when he couldn't really get a kick for my club in the Championship. But he's directly contributed 7 goals in 8 matches this season, 3 scored, 4 assisted, and he got 2 assists in the first leg as well. So keep an eye out on him.
Yeah, I was just going to say Zolis is probably the goal scorer back in the game, plus 106. This is my cat's bet for the game. She likes a bit of Zolis. I like the goals in this game, Jack. Over 3 Asian goals at minus 106.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned it. AZ Flights there. Feels like this game is good for some goals. It just again, just like Robbie Keane, Russell Martin won't die wondering here. He'll give it a really good crack. And one thing you do know, based on Russell Martin teams, is at some point, Club Brugge are going to get 1 or 2 very, very easy chances. They might be gifted 2 chances and goals.
Yeah.
It's just the way that Martin's teams play, and it can take. There was a lot of teething issues with his teams historically, and the same's happened at Rangers. I don't think it's the right sort of club where you can have teething problems. That's the problem Russell Martin's got here at Rangers. He needed to hit the ground running straight away, and he hasn't really happened. Corners, I mean, I've been getting a lot more involved in corners recently in the last year or so. I like to play in what should be a frantic game. You know, Club Brugge will get their fair share of them as well, probably. I don't think Brugge will just lie down and settle for a 0-0 draw either, will they? They can get chances.
Yeah. And I said I haven't watched them. I'm sure it was at Atlanta last season. They were lethal on the counter attack, and they've got the setup to be able to do that. So, and they've got the perfect game state for them to do that. And as you say, we know what exactly what you're going to get from Russell Martin. And I think that's sometimes the problem with these sides that have this absolute, or managers, head coaches that have this absolute template that they refuse to swerve away from. We know what we're going to get from them. So the opposition head coach and the analysts know exactly what they're going to get from them, and they can just work out exactly the ways to punish them. So at this level, I think Club Brugge are just far too good. So yeah, I think they can pick them off, and that could be another nasty night for Rangers and Russell Martin in particular.
Hi to Nish, good to see you. He's on Bruges and Benfica plus 1.5. I'm guessing that's goals, not the handicap. That wouldn't be the biggest paying parlay in the world, but I presume over 1.5 team total goals. I actually think Club Brugge will win the game overall. I think they'll just. The thing is, you're right. You don't have to be Mystic Meg to know how Rangers are going to play. We know how they're going to play. Club Brugge can set themselves up to do that. Now, if it's a team like Barcelona back in the day, you know how they're going to play. The second question then was, what are you going to do about it? And the answer was not a lot because they were that good. But with this Rangers team, there is plenty of things you can do because they aren't. They're the worst team on paper, quality, everything, the chasing stuff. 3-1 again for me, Club Brugge. I'm going to go with.
And you said it as well, and I totally agree. It frustrates the living daylights out of me when you see managers, and Vincent Kompany was the same when he was at Burnley and he went to the Premier League, and we knew what we were going to do. He was going to play that way. They haven't got the quality to play that way. They will pass it around at the back and play those intricate passes and triangles to try and pass the way out of trouble. And they will get caught 2 or 3 times, and they get punished at Premier League level, and they'll get punished at Champions League level because Brugge this isn't a weak side, is it? This isn't a side that would be absolutely astounded that they qualified for the Champions League. This is a pretty established Champions League outfit. So yeah, I'm with you on this one as well.
Both teams to score, yes, is hitting 7 of Rangers' last 8 games across all competitions. Thanks for that stat from producer Troy. 93% of the money is on Club Brugge. 95% of the money is on the over as well for this particular contest. Just checking out some more comments. Hello, IA says Brugge and over 2.5 goals at plus 112. And Nish is also liking the Basel match. Both teams score, yes, around about minus 130 there, I think that is. And over 1.25 first half goals for Charlie. Martin's talked about a quick start in his presser. And I totally believe whatever Russell Martin says. He's not a BS guy, is he? He tells it from the heart. He's very honest. He's quite an emotional fella. Some would say that's a strength. Some would say that's a weakness, but you can take him at face value. He doesn't feel like the sort of bloke who's going to play. He's like the anti-Mourinho, isn't he? In that way, he won't play mind games and stuff like that.
No, I think a lot of people will throw the arrogant card at him, and that's a little bit of a trait of it, isn't it? It's like, I don't need to tell you lies, or I don't need to keep cards close to my chest because I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and I'm going to be honest with you because I don't need to hide. And I think that's where a lot of people get a little bit frustrated with him, a little bit anti Russell Martin because of that way he comes across, that arrogance to a certain degree, which is pretty much unjustified at this moment in time in his managerial career.
If Russell Martin was given a job in LaLiga with, say, a mid-table club, I think he'd do brilliantly. That's what I personally think. If clubs out there that regularly sack managers, Severe, I'm looking at you, Russell Martin, get him on board next, and he'll do a job with you. Brian M says Stephen Jack should do a remote live show from Papos' first Champions League game. What do you think about that?
Oh, you're listening, Nigel Seeley. That's all I'm going to say. Let's get it in the schedule.
I'm absolutely game for that, especially well, maybe not the first game, but let's say the last home game. That'll be somewhere in January, won't it? And we're getting a bit of that'd be very nice, wouldn't
absolutely
it?
Right. I tell you what, everyone can come over. We'll find a little taverna somewhere, and we'll do a live show in front of a live audience. Come on over, everyone.
Does anyone have any predictions for the Old Firm game, Celtic versus Rangers? Celtic to win. Why, you didn't even finish the question properly there, Jack. And you were straight in there. Yeah.
Especially after the performance like this week in the midweek, they're going to have to bounce back from that. They've got an extra day's rest over Rangers as well, and they're the better side by a country mile. And I say I don't think if it was a sort of established Rangers side, I think then possibly you could make arguments for them, but they're in such a transition at the moment to a kind of settled Celtic outfit. I think Celtic will take them on, and win that one.
Brilliant. Duncan says drawing the Old Firm would be his bet.
There you go.
Brad Betts
completely ripped up everything I said.
Brad Betts, good to see you. Just before we move on to the La Liga game and then EFL Cup, there's a couple of rogue Conference League games and Europa League games as well, which I want to talk about, especially the AEK Larnaca Brann match. I went over 2.5 goals in this game last week, and I'm going to do it again. Ended 2-1 to Brann first leg, minus 120. The odds have only just shortened slightly. I think it was minus 106 last week, and it was a great game. It was a late goal that got the over the line, but I just don't see anything changing here. Larnaca, I thought a bit unlucky to maybe lose could see them turning it around. This wouldn't surprise me if it went extra time, 2-1 the other way, actually, or even 3-2. Brann generally play pretty open football. There's not much pressure on these two teams. If you don't get through, you will be still playing Conference League football, which is pretty good. Yeah, you do get more money for Europa League, but you could argue dropping down the Conference League, you could actually get that money back just by the prize money by winning the games, more chance of winning the games. So it's not like Champions League where there's like $20 million on the line. I like the overs in that. Riga against Sparta Prague. Sparta Prague lead 2-0 after leg one. They are -103 here. They are the better team. They're actually maybe a dark horse to even go deep into this Conference League this season, I would say. I want nothing in that particular match myself. I just think Sparta Prague will probably see out the tie. Have you got anything in these two, Jack, or we're moving on?
Move on.
Move on. That's what we'll do. But I do like that, Brann. That's probably my best bet of the day, actually. AEK Larnaca against Brann over 2.5 goals. And Dan Roebuck's in for the Cypriot teams. This is a man who knows Paphos inside out. He's going AEK. They are really firing these Cypriot teams. You've got to respect them at the moment, I've got to say. I actually do agree with Dan. I think AEK Larnaca will win in 90 minutes. And after that, let's see what actually happens. There's plenty of comments coming in through here. Celtic win and draw plus 1.5. This is the Old Firm game. We've got people talking about Old Firm here, Jack. Michael Taylor, good to see you. He is on a Bruges Benfica double this evening. That's going to be a popular bet. And then Nish is talking about the Celta Real Betis game, which we are going to talk about now. A rogue La Liga game. I've not actually done my research why this is playing when it's playing. Jack, you might know. Maybe someone will know. There's got to be a reason somewhere, right? But two teams have started off. I mean, the games involved so far have been pretty low scoring. Celta Vigo plus 104, tie plus 255, Real Betis plus 245. I mean, gun to my head, early impressions on the money line was that Real Betis just looked too big here, personally. But I know both teams are missing a couple of key players. Both teams score an over 2.5 mark. It's pretty balanced to a degree, isn't it? So, but you've not actually got a play on the game now, have you? But you were looking into the prop markets here.
I was indeed. Yeah, I actually had it written down that I think Betis are a smidge of value really at plus 245. I'd make them a lot more competitive than what those odds would suggest. 1 defeat in 9. 4 draws in there, so they are a bit of a tie specialist. Scored in the last 21 league games across all venues as well, so I think they do hold a little bit of sway. Although Vigo got the edge in the most recent heads with these two sides, winning 5, drawing 2, losing 1. My player prop here has been completely hammered, unfortunately. Just before we come on air, I'd been keeping an eye on it all day, and it was standing strong, and then suddenly it collapsed. It's for Royal over 2.5 shots. 1.5 shots was my original play on that one. That was at plus 155, and over 2.5 shots. I was going to get the old step ladder out, Steve. The Wednesday step ladder, plus 155 and plus 430 for over 2.5 shots. That's now been hammered. Over 2.5 shots is now plus 165. So, I can't really put that forward, and having known what the prices were. On target plus 100 and 2 plus shots on target, or over 1.5 shots on target plus 430. That was plus 700 this morning. So there has been a lot of money for it. I completely understand why. I would say, and I wanted to mention it just for viewers and listeners in case they wanted to get on it at a future date if the price does hold. I've looked into the weekend where Betis play Athletic Club Bilbao. And the price is pretty similar to it is tonight, although Betis have home advantage. So you might suggest that might be a way in, a little bit better. But basically, Rubial was playing as a right back last season, generally speaking. Bellerin is in that slot at this moment in time, so they've moved him further up, and he's playing as a wide forward. And he's had 3 shots in both his first 2 La Liga games. He had 1 on target and scored in the opening fixture, and he had 2 on target in the second fixture as well. Played really well in that second fixture. Also created 3 chances for them as well, and putting some good defensive work also, looking through the stats. So I think his place in that position looks like it should be pretty nailed. So tonight, as you say, looking at the prices, you'd still be quite appealing. But knowing what they were this morning just means that it's like one of those for me. So I can't like actually put it forward as an official play or whatever. But certainly I wanted to mention it just for future reference. If the prices are there going forward, keep an eye on them tonight, certainly, and see if you can keep that consistency going.
Yeah, I mean, I've not got a pick on this game. I mean, again, I agree with Dan Roebuck here. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know. But draw no bet here. Real Betis did stand out as a big price to me. Celta Vigo have not started the season that well. I watched the game against Getafe first week and they lost 0, and they didn't create much at all. And for me, Real Betis, they're a different type of side to Getafe, but they're a better side than Getafe overall. Nisha Celta versus Betis. Both teams score, yes. And he's looking at over 3 Asian goals as well, or Betis team total as well.
I must admit, I put in like. What was that? Sorry, mate.
Big bet for this year. Staking the house, the wife, and everything on it. Plus team total over 1.5.
Lower your stake to just the wife, and then it could possibly. No, I won't say that. No lose situation. I said it. Yeah, I think both teams to score and over 2.5 goals is what I kind of had as my final say on it, because last season it was 3-2 and 2-2. Both teams to score tends to happen quite regularly with both sides. I say both sides can score goals as well. That brings it in at -105. So that might well be a way into the goals party, and needing a minimum of 3 there. Obviously, with as long as both teams come to that party.
Yeah, Brad Betts makes an interesting point. There is a bit of a crazy head-to-head here. The last 5 have all gone over 2.5 goals, and both teams score. Yes. Several of them going more than 2.5 goals for that matter. Only 1-0 in the last 10 years between the two sides. A lot of goals when these teams meet. I'm not really one for head-to-heads at all. And this is a strange one. They're not rivals really from opposite ends of the country, but sometimes I guess there's a point where when two teams meet, goals just do flow. It can happen.
Sometimes it stylistically just suits, doesn't it? And a lot of the time these days, because of all the data analysis and everything that people do, the managers don't tend to be a complete shift from what we saw before. Even if it wasn't working, they still want to have that similar style. So if you've got 2 styles of team like these two that produce goals galore, then if you're going to just have a similar, either the managers stay the same or there's a slight change, then quite often it can be that run will continue. Again, you like to have a little look at the historicals, and if it backs up what you're thinking in the current, then it's a great look, isn't it? But you can go, I'll discount that if it goes against what you're looking at. But it's nice to have it as an extra backup if you're looking at it.
Of course it is. Jan Philip, good to see you. He's looking at Lo Celso shots on the player props market. Olo Ihe likes Betis plus 0.5 goal at -130. That does look ridiculously juicy. I've got to say. Brian M looking at Riquelme score assist plus 380. Real Brandon King late to the party, but he's good to see Jack is back. The GOAT.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Very good to see that. A as well. A reckons 1-1 draw written all over it. That would be the worst sort of outcome, unless you were just taking BTTS. Yes, we are going to get a betting split for this game, actually, before we move on. And 86% of the money is on Celta Vigo. That surprises me. It really does. 86% of the over-under money is on the over. Live stream, you can watch this on the BetRivers app or on betrivers.com. Before we move to EFL Cup, there is some breaking news on the sporting world. The US Ryder Cup picks are in. And the big news is that Keegan Bradley has not picked himself. He was fully expected to pick himself on the captain's picks, but he's gone with Ben Griffin, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, and Cameron Young. And I can tell you that we will be covering the Ryder Cup on Betting Weekly Live. We booked in Simon Holden for a couple of days, plus all the other social media content and stuff like that. I'm trying to find the latest odds for the Ryder Cup with BetRivers, and I'll try and get that before the end of the show. But I don't know whether no Keegan Bradley in the team will impact the odds or not. Personally, I would have picked him. I think he's definitely one of the best 12 players they've got. easily in the top 10 for me. He had a great season. So I'm a little bit, I'm kind of surprised to a degree. Even the president was calling for him to pick himself.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think that's taken some fairly big balls not to.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. It's such a like drain on your mental state doing the Ryder Cup isn't it? It's different for all the other golf that they play. So to be in charge of as captain and also have that is a lot to take on. I'm sure he's had a word with a few people, but I tell you what is on that news that you now said there, Simon Holden coming in for a couple of days to cover it. That has ruined it. The budget's gone. We will not be in Paphos. That is now guaranteed. No chance.
Producer Troy is straight on it here. Ryder Cup odds -137 on the USA, Europe +150. The ties at 11-1. -137 on the US on home soil, Jack. That for the minute is what I would go. Really strong home advantage in the Ryder Cup. But we're not here to talk about that yet. That is in about a month's time. We can look forward to that breaking news from the Ryder Cup captain's picks. EFL Cup. Here we go. We've got 4 more matches to discuss today. There was a question earlier about. I don't think you've got a play on the Man United game, have you, Jack? Or have you now?
Only a lean. Yeah, only a lean.
So, someone's asking about a Grimsby. Yeah, looking for the best header of a ball for Grimsby against this Man United team. Man United -835 to beat Grimsby. 18-1. I mean, I was looking. They've not met for like 60 years or something, have they? Something incredible like that was doing the rounds.
Yeah, that was back when Man United were quite good, to be fair. That long ago. It's quite, So there we have it.
Grimsby got any chance here at all to score a goal?
Yeah, I think so. I think they could well score. I think when you look at like Man United's most equivalent game to this recently was a couple of seasons ago when they went to Newport County. They won 4-2. But it was just one of those games where, again, they looked a bit weak defensively. Even Anthony scored for Manchester United that day. So miracles do happen. But I think, look, you know what you're going to get. It's a 10,000-seater capacity stadium. So it's small, compact. It's going to be arguably their biggest game of the season, likely to be. I'm talking about Grimsby, not Manchester United, although, you know. And you expect the balls are going to be fired into the box. Whoever's in goal for Manchester United is going to be look to be put under pressure. They'll sling a few balls in. It's a little bit windy here today, so I don't know what it's like in Cleethorpes, isn't it? But it's they could get the ball in, say set pieces, etc. Put a bit of pressure on, and I think they've got a chance. But they started the season really well, Grimsby, and they score goals as well. So they scored 3 times in 3 games this season. And they've only played 6, so a decent record. In answer to the question, obviously I know this information off the top of my head. Cameron McJanet is the guy that a household name, of course. 23 aerials he's won so far this season for Grimsby. He's only lost 10, so he's your one. He's a central defender, so he's your guy that is probably most proficient in the air. If you're looking for someone who's had the most headed shots, then that is Kieran Green, the midfielder for Grimsby. So yeah, if you're looking for that kind of someone who's more likely to kind of potentially get his head on something from open play, then Green is your man. He's had 3 headed shots so far this season from 4 appearances.
Nish said he thinks Europe will take the Ryder Cup. Reece Cornwell said Kobe Mainu had better start. I mean, Mainu's linked with a move away from the club at the moment, loan or even transfer. Even my own Leeds were linked with him on loan. I can't really imagine that happening. He's a diehard Man U fan, isn't he, Mainu? But yeah, I would take him in a heartbeat. That's how I would absolutely take him in a heartbeat as a Leeds fan. I think he's quality, Kobe Mainu, but Amorim doesn't seem to agree at this point in time. I think Man United will take the cup seriously this season. There's no excuse not to. And
they're obviously not used to coming in at this level, are they? This stage of the competition, they're normally in at the next stage, the third stage, because they're generally in Europe. Obviously, they're not this year, so they come in early. Mr. Dan Roebuck once again flexing his League 2 knowledge there by saying that Grimsby have the best XG in League 2. They have indeed 11.94 their expected goals so far this season. Over 2.5 goals clear of their nearest rivals, who are Crewe Alexandra, of course.
Okay, let's move on to a game which I'm really intrigued. Wrong graphic. Oxford against Brighton. Now you have a pick. You had a pick on Monday's newsletter in this game, Jack. You go in again here with another pick on Betting Weekly Live. It's fair to say you are very keen on Brighton in this matchup. So let us know what you like about the Seasiders.
Yeah. Again, another good reason. We've talked about the newsletter picks before, and that we can get in early so we can really snap up the value. That was a perfect example. I played Brighton minus 1.25 on Monday in the newsletter. That was at minus 105. That same bet is now minus 148. So expected movement of money for Brighton on that one. I do like siding with Premier League sides that are in that kind of mid-table, that mid-pack. Because they do see this as a really good opportunity to go and win. They do have the strength in depth. They have that better quality of squad. Obviously, Brighton also not in Europe, so this is kind of their focus, the Premier League, and then to go deep into one of the cup competitions. They're also facing weak opponents here who will traditionally rotate, because Oxford, for them, the start they've made to the Championship season, they've got a massive game coming up at the weekend. They're home to Coventry. They've lost all 3 opening Championship games. They need to get a foothold there. So expect them to rotate tonight. And when 2 sides like this rotate, there's only one winner, really. I did a similar bet last season on Brighton when they played my team in the FA Cup 3rd round. They won that 4-0. Could have been a lot more. Expect something similar tonight. So I've gone with, the newsletter is minus 1.25, but same kind of theme. I've gone for half-time, full-time here. So for Brighton to be winning at the end of the first half and then to be winning at full-time, that's at minus 112. So don't be confused with winning both halves. They don't have to win both halves. They just need to be winning at half-time and at full-time.
It's not a market which is used that often, really, is it? Half-time, full-time.
No.
It used to be used a lot. But because some other markets and prop markets became available, everyone seems to forget about half-time, full-time, I find. In fact, if people are betting on anything to do with the half, it's often just in the first half. So it's good to see that sort of bet back on the agenda, really, Jack. The half-time, full-time.
It's there, and you got to use it. And so I watched a bit of the Brighton Everton game at the weekend, and Brighton were quick and bright in that first half, bright. And Welbeck missed that open goal, didn't he? And they've been a bit unfortunate to only end up with 1 point, but that is Brighton after all, the XG kings from their opening 2 fixtures. But they will have too much quality for Oxford tonight. It will just be a case of them taking their chances, which against lesser opponents, expect them to do so. Yeah,
totally agree. Brighton are the sort of team who should be targeting this cup. And we think they're going to have a pretty comfortable evening there, Jack. You've got one other bet in the EFL Cup, and it's in the Everton game.
Yes. Yeah, pretty simple one, this one. Both teams to score yes at plus 123 for me. I think it's just a value play. This is a great price. Everton have got the worst expected goals against in the Premier League at 4.4. That's 0.7 and 0.9 more than even Wolves and West Ham, respectively. Again, like we said about the weekend, Brighton should have scored against them. Welbeck missed the open goal. Then he missed the penalty as well. And of course, it's a new stadium. This is a huge occasion for Mansfield. So Mansfield are in the 3rd tier of English soccer. Everton will be rotated. They've not quite got that sort of same strength in depth that other sides have got that can handle that. And I think Mansfield will go here. What an occasion to go and be the only second visitors to this stadium. Massive game for their players. And they've had a decent start to the season. They've scored in all 6 fixtures so far. They've scored at least 2 goals in their last 4. And no team has scored more in League One than Mansfield. 10 goals so far they've scored. And so I just think, I'm not saying they're going to go and win it, but this is the sort of game I can see them just getting out to a quick start, catching Everton being a little bit sloppy because they're playing lower league opponents, potentially even going in front, but then possibly ending up losing 3-1, 4-1. You see it happen quite a lot where, say, the Premier League side can get caught a little bit cold with players that aren't used to playing alongside each other in the same team. So both teams to score for me, plus 123. Generally, just a value play, that one.
This is a great draw for Mansfield fans, isn't it?
Oh, huge.
Second team
what a chance.
to go to this stadium. Brilliant. And I think the players will be, for them, it will be like a sort of a cup final to a degree.
Absolutely. It's going to be the biggest game of the season. Yeah. You'd be pretty certain to say.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest soccer bet of the day, as was about an hour or 2 hours ago, was in the Fulham game. Fulham against Man City. A big play on Fulham on the money line. Just quick thoughts on that game before we go. Would you be trusting Fulham?
No, I'd said about like those mid-table sides that are nothing really else to play for all season. Fulham would come into that category, but I just think there's a little bit of a funk at Fulham at the moment. I'm just not quite on board with them. But you've mentioned it already. You tweeted it, I think, over the weekend. They are the both teams to score kings. You want to get on side with them at any point in time. And so to get that line at plus money against a vibrant Bristol City side, I think that's a decent play. So that'd be where my lean would be on that one. Fulham have got decent strength and depth, so you'd expect rotation there, but say the ability to score goals. And Bristol City will love it. Struber, their manager, is a manager that loves when teams come onto him, when there's space in behind to play, aggressive press. He can really make a lot of that. So I think that they could cause problems here. I could see something like a 2-2 over the 90 minutes, but both teams to score, I think, at plus money. Whenever you get that with Fulham, like we said, I think that's a bit of a blind play, really, to be fair. And I think it is tonight.
Yeah, Nisha's both teams to score. Yes, a few were saying that Bristol City, Reese there says it could give Fulham a bit of trouble. And yeah, they are the both teams to score kings. They're one of them sides. If you've got a decision to make between both teams score yes and over 2.5 goals, you always go both teams score yes with Fulham. Keeps happening.
2-1-1 draws.
Don't really know how it happens sometimes because there's matches where they're so dominant they don't look like conceding, or the other way around, and it somehow does end up with BTTS. Yes. So anyway, that will do for today. What's your best bet on the card, Jack?
I'm going to stick with Brighton. Brighton half-time, full-time for me for the show.
Yeah, for me, over 2.5 goals, AEK Larnaca against Brann. That match kicks off in half an hour's time. So if you are watching late, I'll give you a bet for the later card as well, and it would have to be FC Copenhagen -1 Asian handicap for me. Thank you, everyone who watched live or on demand. Do keep hitting that like button. Do keep hitting the subscribe button. The action doesn't stop here on that because we win Betting Weekly Tennis Live, Betting Weekly Hardball, Betting Weekly Fast Break will follow today. And the content keeps coming. US Open, of course, over there. There's been some great winners across the board. Shakespeare's coming, chat, and he's got a bet for the weekend on Ren at +108. Shakespeare money back guarantee. He's trusting a team that have had 3 red cards in the first 2 rounds of action, which is putting a lot of people off back in Stad Ren at the minute, Jack. They cannot
that was
keep
so unlucky for James this weekend, wasn't it? Jesus.
Wow.
That was
bonkers.
two in what, 11 minutes, 13 minutes? Mad.
I've not seen that happen for a long time, but
no.
There you go. That's Shakespeare's play. This is a man who has the Midas touch in whatever sport he has. So we have been put on alert for that one over the weekend. Thanks so much, Jack. Great pleasure as always.
Cheers, Steve. Cheers all.
I'll see you all tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live with James Easton for Europa League and Conference League. Gamble responsibly, cash those winning tickets, and see you next time on the channel.